Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Romancing Our Stones, your male survival guide to pop culture and media that your girl will most likely drag you to. I am Matt,
And I'm Alex.
and we, just like this episode this week, this is a no bullshit. We're cutting all the fat. Therefore, I have lost 10 pounds because I had some fat to spare. We got a lot to talk about. Matt wasn't messing around anymore. The producers are still up to their nasty tricks, and there's a lot to cover here. We're obviously talking about episode five
I think it's five.
of Matt James's season of The Bachelor, based in the most expensive setting in the history of the show, and also with the youngest, most immature, mean girls. Anyway,
Yep.
how you doing, Alex?
Good, good. Can I just say first and foremost, I'm really bummed actually that we didn't get to see Ben Higgins this episode. I just don't think we've seen enough of Ben Higgins in the Bachelor franchise.
I don't think we're remiss without saying that he launched his book yesterday when the show was filming or airing. So he was still a part of the atmosphere.
Perfect timing.
His book is trying to find connection when everyone thinks they know you. People would know you less, Ben, if you stop showing up on our TVs, and you could probably connect a little bit easier, because when you keep coming on as the resident expert on finding love when you didn't even do it yourself, it's time for you to sit down and for Sean's phone to ring and for him to come.
Yeah.
Kind of interesting too. I sent you a tweet thread from Dylan talking about he's fed up, and he's talking about all the things that the producers do to manipulate the show. And then Sean Lowe and Catherine on their Instagram last night during the show got fed up, and Sean Lowe was talking about what the producers made him do during the season. And it's weird that you have one of the biggest Bachelor villains of all time in Victoria, acting the way that she is, and there's extreme disdain for producers.
Mm-hmm.
We sent out a ton of tweets this episode, and the ones that made fun of certain characters didn't hit very well, but the ones that talked about the producers exploded. So It goes to show that there's a sentiment right now against the producers, especially with all their, Rachel Lindsay reading all these anti-bullying messages, and then you had someone else come out and talk about the bullying they receive, and then they just allow bullying to happen on their TV show.
Well, yeah, and it's interesting because it's kind of a commentary on just what's happening, like, globally. I feel like there's this big disdain for the powers that be, right? You've seen people getting mad at their governors, people getting mad at their governments. You got people getting mad at Wall Street now, and now there's this, and you have this I wouldn't call it the trendy thing. I think people are just fed up of people in power running things the way they want to run it. And I feel like it's just kind of trickled down to, believe it or not, the Bachelorette and the Bachelor. So, why do you think there'd be this explosion of anti-producer sentiment?
I don't know. This makes me very concerned for watching Mickey Mouse Clubhouse with my kids next week, because if it's down to the Bachelor, the next step down is how Mickey Mouse runs his clubhouse.
Miska, Muska.
Miska, Russian. He's a Russian.
We gotta watch how he can get our butt suit over this.
Oh no! Oh no, Mr. Mouse.
First of all, we're getting way too deep without getting too deep into our beers.
Good point. So I'm drinking from is it Bend or Portland?
Probably Bend. That's my bet. I don't know what you're going to say.
I'm drinking Deschutes. It was just from Bend, Oregon. I've been to the Deschutes Brewery in Portland, but I'm drinking a fresh squeeze IPA. It's a really good beer, 6.4% alcohol, really smooth. I used to tell everyone that it was brewed in lemonade. Turns out I was completely lying about that.
I think you told me it was brewed in lemonade.
Yeah, I tell a lot of people that because I'm like, oh, it's something different. But it's the hop profile that gives it a lemony taste. It's not brewed in lemonade, because it says here on the bottle, no fruit was harmed in making of this beer. So
I don't know what to
lie
believe.
my entire life.
I don't know what to believe anymore. Anything that's come out of your mouth now.
Dude, I'm in sales. I'm trying to influence you to act.
That was one of the first truths you told me. It's a foundational existence of our relationship. The fact that you sold me on a lemonade brewed beer that didn't actually happen. So we'll deal with this off air,
Yeah.
But I'm drinking Avery Brewing Company Bug Zapper straight out of Boulder. It's a sour ale with lime zest, ginger, and mint. It's one of my favorites. It's limited release, and every time we get into kind of like the late winter, early spring time, I usually am scanning the shelves looking for this stuff. So if you get Avery Brewing where you're at around the country, hopefully be on the lookout for Bug Zapper. Sour ale, 6% ABV, lime zest, ginger, and mint. And boy, is it delicious. Just listen to that snap, crackle, and pop right here. Oh, so good. So good.
Did you just say every time it's this time of year?
Is it every
time or every time it's this time of year?
Well, I could use both and I'd be right. But Avery releases this every time this year.
Gotcha. Okay. So this beer gives me a little bit of PTSD because you invited me over to stain your fence once, and that's what you said. I have beer, and all you had was Bug Zappers, and it was a 100-degree day, and we were drinking sours, spraying your fence.
We're getting high and drunk at the same time. We were not wearing protective face wear when we were spraying this stain.
We did everything wrong, but that's usually our first project. Yeah,
and the job got done, right? So I still count it as a win in my book.
Absolutely. Well, cheers to you, bud.
Cheers. Congratulations, you just belted up. I don't know, what do you call it in jiu-jitsu?
Promoted. Yeah. So I went from sucking really bad to sucking in style.
A little less.
Yeah, which is good. No, I'm happy about it. So
something to drink for.
Exactly. That's why I work out, to drink. So the episode starts out with a very weird scene where Kit and Victoria are walking down a path, and they just so happen past Ryan, who I didn't even remember from last episode, but Ryan the dancer,
yes,
and Britt, and they have this very strange, not going to talk to each other while we pass each other deal.
Well, also, like, since when did like jog walking get back into like vogue? Did I miss something in the workout sphere that says like that's the new rage? 2 pairs of girls jog walking, or I guess speed walking, really, but. That threw me off to begin with, and then they pass by Victoria and who is it, MJ? Who's walking with Victoria?
A kid.
That's right. And Victoria uses her number one favorite word to describe other girls is disgusting. They're disgusting. They're disgusting.
The cognitive dissonance of this episode was insane.
Profound. Yeah.
It was. I mean, you talk about. Like the powers to be and the pushback we're getting everywhere right now with people, Wall Street politics or whatever. But cognitive dissonance right now in America is at an all-time high, and I feel like this episode demonstrated with Victoria, MJ, Anna. I mean, like it is at an all-time high, and it really makes me sound like I'm a baby boomer, but it's like I'm afraid for the future. Because most of these girls are the next generation, and these people are the next generation, and they don't know how to formulate thoughts or understand that their point of view isn't always right.
Well, we're in this world now of living your truth. This is the byproduct of living out your quote unquote truth, in my opinion. So,
I agree. And cognitive dissonance is defined as the state of having inconsistent thoughts, beliefs, or attitudes, especially as relating to behavioral decisions and attitude change. So, you have Victoria, like, I've been nothing but nice, and the house loves me.
Yeah.
It was so sad when I'm gone. And, like Anna's like, I made one bad mistake and I'm gone. It was an out of character decision. When there's video footage of her loving every moment when she's just flapping her mouth.
Yep. And that's where I liked, it looks like MJ is going to live to fight another day, but I don't know if you noticed, but every time Anna was running her mouth, MJ was right by her side, being a part of it. I'm actually surprised that her name didn't get brought up sooner at that night when Matt was getting rid of girls that were part of this and that were bad influences on the rest of the group. Yeah, she was right there with it, just stirring the pot further. And I'm really surprised that her name didn't get mentioned earlier.
MJ is a odd character. I mean, I've never seen a fall from grace so fast like I did with MJ. I mean, I saw other people feel the same sentiment on Twitter, but it's like MJ, I liked the first episode a lot.
Yeah.
And then she just got meaner and grumpier. And, she wasn't, what would she say, spreading peace, love, and harmony.
She kept repeating that. Is that what you tell yourself every day? To hold your story up? Because, again, we both liked her walking into this. And then you started seeing her associate with the wrong crowds and really becoming part of that bully scene. And I guess, varsity versus JV, which, at the grand whole scheme of this thing, I'm like, dude, it's so stupid. First of all, just shut up. But secondly, it's just kind of but you're still partaking in this and actually creating a not so comfortable environment. It's these girls are here to do the same thing you are. She was disappointing. And I'm really sad because I really liked her starting out. I was she was one of my favorites. And I'm really, I don't know, man. She's turned a new leaf. And I'm glad that Matt started just dropping the hammer. Because basically what he did is he hit the reset button and said, we're going to do all of this the right way, or at least the way he wants it, which is everyone's going to treat each other with respect. We're all going to respect this process, and we're going to hopefully come to a good conclusion for me. So,
and then MJ quickly turned into B Rabbit, and I'm going to attack you before you attack me. And I'm it was bizarre. She gave Anna this really strange pep talk when Matt was talking to Brittany.
I thought that was a little strange too.
I had to watch it twice and I still don't really understand what she was trying to get across, but she has to go say something. And Anna's I'm going to go say something. And Anna goes, stands by the fireplace and Matt has to go get her. It's they're who are they pumping up? What I'm going to do? What are you going to do? I'm going to go talk to him. You should do that. I'm going to do that. Oh my gosh, you so are. I'm so brave. I'm
wondering if again, maybe that was a production thing, or maybe she was going to go walk over and they go, oh no, don't worry, Matt's going to come get you. It might have been a situation like that. So
I don't know. It was bizarre. I mean, what did you think about Anna's apology? Do you think she was apologizing for getting caught, or do you think she was really remorseful? I mean,
yes and no. I think if you know that you've done something that let's give her the benefit of the doubt. Let's say this was out of her character and that everything that she did and the rumors that she spread came out of fear and insecurity, and that wasn't part of her character, right? So I'm going to assume the best, right? Because we don't know Anna that much other than that was her time to shine on the show and she immediately left after that. So I'm going to assume the best, that was out of character for her.
I liked how he sent her home. I liked the words that he said, but you could tell he was speaking slow enough where he was listening to what he had to say.
Yeah.
I just don't see my future with someone that would do that, which I thought was a right call. It really was.
It was.
But then he should have done that with Victoria too, when Ryan said that Victoria called her a hoe, and that hoe is a really hard word to hear. I personally think it's horrible. And, again, a joke flies right by you, Alex.
I caught the pun.
But thank you. Yeah, thanks for
I'm just getting back at you for all the hard times you gave me on the media scale. I'm just getting you back one by one.
Okay. All right. We got a lot of time. We got a lot of making up to do then.
You're due for a lot of punishment. Yeah.
Yeah, currently.
But I'll say this: assuming that again, these are things that are out of character. Have you ever done something that was out of your character and immediately regret it the second somebody discovers it or calls you out on it? I think that's what was taking place.
Oh.
I think that's also when all the other girls started apologizing, all the new girls were like, isn't it funny how Matt sends one girl home immediately over this and all of them start apologizing if they misunderstood, right? And so I could see the new girls' callousness towards their apologies because of the timing of it all. But I think that there is a certain element, and that's why I say half and half, right? That's why I think it's like yes and no, because part of it is like, if it was out of character, like, I know I shouldn't have done that, and I'm sorry, right? The other part of it is, crap, I better cover my butt before Matt comes over and lets me go.
I've already apologized. We're good. We're all fine. But that was weird.
Yeah.
I mean, like, sorry I took your crown. It just looked better on me, and it was never malicious. It's like,
and in my opinion, that confirms Victoria knew what she was doing was not right, because of how she immediately starts picking out things like, I'm sorry about this, I'm sorry about that. It's like, why now? You would, if this had never come up, you wouldn't have said jack to these girls.
I'm really concerned about Victoria, because I really think in her head she didn't do anything wrong, and she was all those good things for Matt. Like I'm gonna say, literally everything was going perfect. I was the perfect person to be his wife. And then when Matt came over, she said, I admire your attention on this issue. It's like I guess she's getting attention. So, I mean, she admires the attention on her. And then she took Ho out of context. And I really liked how Beth stopped, and he's like,
best line in the Bachelor history ever was him being like, in what context would that ever be right?
I was wondering that too. Because I was in my head, I was thinking that. I was like, what is a hoe? Calling someone a hoe, like taking out of context.
Yep.
Unless she was in the garden.
Yeah, using an old farming tool.
She was trying to till the soil, and she didn't have, so she became a hoe, and she did it with her hand. I mean, that's the only context I think that would work.
Yeah.
So.
I think it was I think that was one of the best lines ever in the history of The Bachelor, made by any Bachelor, being like, he's not willing to be like, oh, okay. Like, he actually thinks about what's being, like, you can tell Matt's a listener. Matt listens to what people say.
Yeah.
He actually thinks about it. He processes. He's like, oh, okay, well, she's sorry. Oh, like, I must be, she misunderstood it. No. In what context is calling somebody a hoe ever, like, tell me what the context was then, because I'm missing something.
Santa.
Yeah, ho ho ho.
Yeah.
Yeah, bingo.
Yeah, Santa. Well, the only thing I didn't like is that Matt throws Katie under the bus for no reason. Like, when Katie approached me, and then all of a sudden Victoria's like, Katie's a loser. She's the one that's toxic, not me. I'm like, oh no.
Right when Matt said that, I'm like, oh, he let her name slip. Matt, you're giving her a bad hand right now, dude.
Yeah, it's like I'm gonna sacrifice her to the mean girls.
Throw her to the wolves, yeah.
But then Victoria goes outside, starts talking loudly to the producers about how everyone sucks. Katie is disgusting. We've known that for weeks now.
Again, every girl's disgusting outside of her. So
losers, she calls them. But anyways, he gives the roses to two new girls first, which I was like, ooh, that's symbolic. And then the girl's like, I saw the symbolism in it. I'm like, okay, I'm okay. I'm paying attention enough.
Mm-hmm.
And then Victoria, Mari, Catalina, and Lauren go home. I felt bad for Mari, but on the bright side, she has nuts to eat on the plane ride home because she won the squirrel relay.
Oh yeah,
that was her grand prize
and the trophy. She's got the
trophy. So I could just see her in her middle seat with her trophy with the nuts in the middle, just sobbing as she's crunching some peanuts.
Something, I think it was the amount of coverage she got early on in the show, like back in like the first 2 episodes. I thought she would have gone farther because I'm like, oh, okay, I'm seeing a lot of her in the first couple episodes. So that was kind of shocking for me to see that they sent her home.
I was too, but Victoria got sent home.
Let's talk about her graceful exit.
Yeah, exit gracefully is part of it. No, I'm not gonna hug him.
Yeah.
She said, what was her exact quote? It's something like, I saw she said, Matt's a jester and I'm still a queen. I'm not dating another Matt, which is fantastic for me. I mean, I felt relieved.
What kind of Sith is this, dealing in absolutes? I will never date a Matt. It's like, okay.
Perfect. I mean, what they say, like 30% of the population between born between 85 and 92's name is Matthew. I mean, everyone just let out this huge sigh of relief I think it cooled the global temperature a few degrees. So
a collective sigh of relief was heard around the world.
correct, yeah. The shot heard around the world. The sigh of relief heard around the world. But then she refused to hug him. Like, no, and she's like, something like, "You're making a terrible." I forget what she said. Like,
she said something like, "You're making a terrible mistake to believe in lies."
I feel sorry for you,
like
is what she said.
Yeah,
believing in hearsay and not coming to the truth. And
that's like, what it is. Yeah.
That's which I think is hilarious.
I just love that. I bet you, because Matt's in this position with a statement like that. What do you say, right? But at the same time, it's kind of perfect that he gave her no response. He just let her walk away.
I would have said, "Don't let the door hit you on the vagina on the way out. Leave." Like, I don't know. Like, he didn't want her there anyway. The producers picked her to stay.
Yeah. Let's face it, she was like the last rose for like the last 3 episodes. So.
Yeah. And I mean, the production literally had to put how I did that. We used to look at the bathing suit covers that they would superimpose over the thong under bathing suit. They'd make it like a granny panty. They did that over. Did you see this? Did I send it to you?
No.
They did it over her.
You're dress so good at catching these things.
Because her boob was falling out. I'll show you the picture over the Zoom.
Well, wait. Maybe you did send that to me. Wait, I couldn't tell. If that was that was
look closer.
Touched up.
Look closer. She wasn't wearing a bra.
Well, I know that. But hold on, I gotta see this on my phone because you did send that to me. I'm sorry.
She will be missed. But
yeah.
Rachel then gets a one-on-one, and I hate these shopping dates because it's like every girl's dream, but every dude's nightmare. I mean, literally, Matt twirled her a few too many times for me to think that he's actually enjoying this. I mean, like, how many times have you been shopping with your wife and then she comes out and you're like, "Let me twirl you for a second." You're on your phone, you're looking up memes on Instagram, and then he said, like, "You know what that dress needs? A good pair of shoes." Words a man has never said that wasn't selling the shoes. It's like, it's like, "I've never worn shoes that were more than $40. I'm like, time to leave Payless. I mean, I'm not even bougie, and I don't think I have a pair of shoes. My sandals are like $70.
Well, now, granted, we're not talking about, we're not the people that are buying $1,000 pairs of shoes though either.
No.
So you and I buy a nice pair of dress shoes for our business purposes. Those might be, $300 to $500 if they're a really nice pair.
Oh, dude, I don't spend more than $90.
See, so again,
dress shoes.
So let's just be clear. This girl, again, who knows? Maybe she's like a Vans girl, and all she buys is like the really original, like deck shoe Vans that are $40. So
Vans are expensive.
They have gotten there because they know they can charge it now.
God, what are you talking about? Vans from like 95?
The original like
95?
The original topsiders though, they're probably like 50 or 60. Right?
We need to Google that. There's no way to that.
I will look.
Okay. Well,
keep us rolling.
Anyway,
we've gone down another
rabbit hole. I need to know. Because Vans are super expensive. But anyway, she walks back in with all the bags, and then all of a sudden everyone's like heart drops, and it's all the girls keep looking at her, like who, and then there's one girl that keeps saying, I'm over it. I don't know who it is, but she keeps saying like, "I'm over it." And even the preview for next week is like, "I'm over it." I'm curious who that is because that person needs to go immediately. Rachel and Matt go to dinner. The dinner's kind of boring. They talk about how they had each other's eyes. Rachel drops a non-committal L-bomb. I think I'm starting to maybe fall in love with you.
A couple girls do that this episode, which I thought was a bit early, but that's just me.
And then Matt reaffirmed her, though, and he drops an L-bomb as well.
Yes.
Which the producers had to be pissed about.
Right.
But anyway, he gives her the rose, and she's clearly the front runner now. What did you find out on the Vans?
I just sent it to you. $39.99, punk. Got you. $39.99 for like the original classics. I'm telling you.
It says 20% off though.
What's that price say, Matt? What's that price say? $39.99. I win.
Or 4 payments of $10. Okay.
Well, you can do that nowadays.
We'll call it a push.
Okay.
Because there's still shipping, and then there's tax, which pushes it over 40. Retail prices.
We got to get that girl on our show and ask her what $40 shoes she buys.
Please, yes.
That's my biggest question.
Rachel, if you're listening, which I'm pretty sure you are, let us know. Slide into our DMs. Anyway, then there's this farm date because Matt grew up on a farm. And Jasenia made a really bad pun about chickens.
Yes.
About MJ being chicken.
Yeah.
And then
MJ doesn't, she's treating it like, she's Chris Pratt in Jurassic World.
Blue, we're not gonna have a problem here now, Blue.
Force pushing them away, so.
And then Matt throws an egg at MJ, then shows his 40 speed as he sprints out through the barn. And then he immediately goes to make out with Piper, which I didn't understand because I've never seen them talk to each other before. But he starts making out with Piper, and then MJ sees that and is very awkwardly standing there, and then is being loud enough so they can hear.
Yeah.
Yet not leaving. I don't know.
It was a whole lot of nothing for a group date. I'll say that much.
And then Michelle has a complete mental breakdown because she had a one-on-one right off the bat, and she doesn't like this group date thing.
Yeah.
And then all the girls were pissed because the card didn't say farm on it, and they would have dressed differently.
Yeah. It just said "loves messy" or something like that, right? Is that what it said?
They should have worn a smock, or I don't know.
Yeah.
Excuse me, but I don't know. They hauled as much shit in the episode as they did this date. So
I think it's brilliant because they did talk about, or one of the girls mentioned something. It might have been Jasenia or something, being like, I love how Rachel gets this bougie dress, shopping spree date and where you're shoveling shit.
Yeah.
It's so good.
That was pretty funny. And then they go to dinner or cocktail hour, I guess. Chelsea is wearing a jacket that looks like she killed a polar bear. It was a huge white fluffy jacket. And then she had a good talk and they kind of kiss, but I don't think Matt's really feeling it. And then Abigail talks about how her kids might be deaf and the dad left. And then Matt comforts her by saying his dad left too. He didn't really address the deaf item.
Yeah.
But he said he can commiserate because his dad left. Props to Abigail for being bold and being real. I mean, that was rooted in reality.
Mm-hmm.
Matt James is wearing a purple sweater. Super
that reminds you of what?
It just makes me wonder where Grimace is because no one's seen Grimace in a while. And
that sweater looks like it's about 9 years old.
It kind of does, yeah. And Grimace didn't really have a purpose. So, I mean, if he's been repurposed into a sweater, then, I mean, it was a very odd purple color.
Recycling's all the rage these days.
Yeah. I hate to see what happened to the Hamburglar or Mayor McCheese.
There's some big deep theories. We got some real nasty theories Matt and I have about that purple sweater. Apparently,
where does Grimace fit into it? I thought he was always like a tainted McNugget. But what is he?
He's the McNugget that never got preservative.
Literally, I thought he was a McNugget of some sort.
I always thought he was like a Happy Meal toy.
And why is he? Because Grimace is a negative connotation.
He's a purple potato. Basically, is what he is. A velvet purple potato.
And then how come the Hamburglar never kidnapped Mayor McCheese? I mean, he's literally the biggest
a hamburger or cheeseburger.
Mayor McCheese is a hamburger. I mean, he's literally like the Hope Diamond of the Hamburglers, criminal ring.
He's the Declaration of Independence. Can we talk about, since we're talking about outfits, can we talk about when Matt showed up for his one-on-one with Kit?
What about Kit?
What about Kit?
Her outfit. I mean, she opened the door and she looked like she was Cruella DeVille and in a serial killer.
Well, it's because she's into fashion. Her mom is a fashion designer. Did you know that?
What?
Yeah, so she comes from like fashion royalty, apparently.
That sounds like a really tough life.
The toughest. Good thing she has the kitchen. Because all that had to be mentioned was the thought that they might have a dinner or a date where they're going to be cooking together. And boy, did she burn down pretty fast, man. She broke down real quick.
Yeah, I mean, I know that she's not going to connect with a lot of people on that. I mean, she's like, my life is like gold Bentleys, which I think she's missing a comma because a gold Bentley does not make a ton of sense.
Unless one actually exists, and then that's real FU money.
So I wonder if she said she would say like gold and Bentleys, missing a comma or an ampersand.
And isn't she like 19 or something?
She's 21.
She's not that old. 21. Okay, so she's the heiress to a fashion. Well, she's actually got her own fashion lines too. So, which again, that's why she's marketed as an entrepreneur. But like, think about it. She's the heir to a fashion dynasty. She's got her own fashion lines already. Living in New York City. She's making buku bucks. She's not really a relatable character. Let's just say that. She's the 0.01%. We're not talking about 1%. We're talking about 0.01%. And her crocodile tears. I'm sorry, I just don't.
You want to hear my biggest issue with I have two issues with Kit. Okay.
Her fashion sense.
No, I'm not even going there. That'd be rude. First and foremost, she short arms him when she's feeding him cookie dough. Like he goes in for a bite and he can't reach it, and she doesn't extend her arm out to his mouth. She just holds it still, and he goes like 80, then he goes an additional 20.
He has to break his back to get to it.
She didn't extend her arm out or give him the spoon. She holds it at the same angle to where he literally, like in Hitch, he goes 90 and she's supposed to go 10.
Yeah.
And she just sits there. So he went the full 100, which it says never to do. So I noticed that. Secondly, I don't like how they're trying to make her a good person now. She was part of that Mean Girls crew. She's the one that said, "I never want to see your face again."
Yep.
Like, she's not a nice person.
Yeah. And again, I have to go back to that date because we digressed a little bit in a good direction because we progressed forward. But Matt was wearing drywall colored sweater with a matching drywall colored jacket with drywall colored pants. And he's talking about how he needed to look fashionable for Kit on the date because he knows that she's into fashion stuff. I thought, so you pick basically off-white? Cool, man. And then he's wearing like powder, like baby, a little bit darker than that, almost like whoopee cushion pink, if you can picture it. Whoopee cushion pink, like Reeboks. And I'm like, what? Who put this outfit together? Like, I'm sure the second he met up with Kit, in her mind, she goes, "It's all right, I can fix it. I can go shopping for him." That guy.
Whoever is the costume stylist this season needs to be fired. We get it. It's fall. You don't need to wear a turtleneck every episode and a jacket. You don't need to do that. And then
or short sleeve sweaters. What is this?
Literally, I don't know if that's Franco or it was the other guy that looked like the pink whoopee cushion in Rachel's date. I don't know who's dressing these people.
Yeah.
But anyway, they're
a hard pass.
Kit gets a rose because she tells Matt her secret ingredient for chocolate chip cookies is chocolate chip.
Chocolate chips.
And he thought that was hilarious.
Yep.
Yeah, lowbrow humor, I guess.
If I were Matt, I would have like just made her really uncomfortable. Like, really? I thought it was love. And then just be dead quiet. Just see how she responds.
She probably think he like jizz in the bowl or something. Anyway. What? Okay. And then there's a surprise 2-on-1 between Jasenia least Jacinia stepped up and said, I said your name. And then all of a sudden MJ got all chirpy about it, talking about how she preaches harmony and peace. And then Jacinia says there's 3 MJs, MJ on camera, MJ off camera, and MJ around the girls. So,
which I feel like there's always one of those every season, right?
Yeah.
So yeah,
I don't know. That's kind of how the episode ends. This is Romancing Our Stones. We are your male survival guide to these types of things. So we give a stones rating to demonstrate how good the episode is or not. We each have 2 stones to give.
Naturally.
I combined the first part in a latter part. Tired, man.
Changing the script on us? Yeah, this is what happens when Matt improvises, everybody.
I improvise the whole time.
I know.
Anyway, we each have 2 stones to give.
Naturally.
2 stones means you enjoy the episode. 0 stones means an act of castration is preferable to watching this episode. We talked a lot about Bachelor fatigue last week. So, Alex, what do you think?
I'm actually going to give this one 2 stones. And it's purely for selfish reasons. I've been dying to watch Victoria go home, so it was already a stone. I liked the fact that Matt sent home the people that were causing problems. Not all of them yet. He still has some more, he still has to take out the trash a little bit, but took care of the major ones, which I was very happy about. And then also just that quote that he had, or that statement he had when Victoria said that it was taken out of context, and he just called her out and he goes, in what context would that ever be okay? So I just saw a lot of things. Again, it's a selfish 2 stones, but I saw a lot of stuff I wanted to see. And it was fantastic from that perspective. So I'm going to give it 2 stones.
I'm going to give it 2 stones too. I actually enjoyed this. And for as much as I was bitching last week, it's kind of like WandaVision, this watching that show that's more Gaia oriented. You have to watch a couple of setup episodes to have a really good one in the middle, I guess. And I think that seeing how terrible these girls are, actually watching them get chopped, and then you see the fire that Katie sets grows, and all of a sudden it extinguishes the people that need to be extinguished.
Mm-hmm.
Not all of them, but then Jasenia starts a fire. But it's interesting to see people reap what they sow. I mean, Matt's still pretty boring in my book. I think he's a good guy, but I think that I actually feel bad for him. I feel like the producers are totally screwing him over. But
they're driving the bus. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's kind of tough. I mean, I wonder what a season of The Bachelor would be if there was no drama. No manufactured drama where people actually they just focus on making everyone fall in love with them and then see them be brokenhearted when they get sent home. That'd be an interesting turn of the show rather than the girls fighting.
It makes me wonder if viewership would go up or down.
I don't know. They should try it. I thought Claire's season, we got both of that, because once Claire's season ended, all the guys got along. They were all good dudes towards the end. So who knows? I like that a little bit more. But you heard it. 2 stones from Alex, 2 stones from me. That's 4 stones. It's an episode that you should watch with or without your girl.
I feel like it's the first 4-stone rating for a Bachelorette show we've had in a while.
I would agree with you on that. So make sure you watch that. Be sure to follow us on Twitter at RO Stones Guys, on Instagram at RO Stones Guys, on YouTube at RO Stones Guys. If you want to be a guest host on the show, my Zoom money is burning in my wallet here. So if you could please step up and tell me that you want to do that. Would you be interested to get a therapist on here to psychoanalyze?
Oh, hell yeah.
Okay.
Because I would love to see if my 2-cent Carney psychiatry is actually in line with a professional.
We'll see what we can do. Thanks for everyone for listening. We had the best month that we ever had in January. It means a lot to us. Keep sharing, subscribing, rating, all that good stuff, liking. We appreciate you, and we look forward to talking to you soon. Y'all have a good night.